It's only fit for black people to follow our demands. So, open this door like a good server. That's what the HOA security told my wife, never realizing those words would haunt him forever. But, look, let me back up a sec, because nothing about our story started with outrage. It started with a dream. A house buried deep inside Crestwood Estates, a neighborhood as picture-perfect as the sales brochure promised, with oaks older than the state itself and sidewalks so clean it made you suspicious of dirt. We paid for peace, for some kind of return to old school, neighborly values, and for a while, it actually felt like we'd found it. I'm an architect, work from home, always looking for quiet, and my wife, she's the type who carries the weight of a whole county on her shoulders every day, just needed somewhere she could breathe again. Our first few months? Like something out of a Hallmark commercial. Waves from across perfect lawns, the kind of small talk that never goes deeper than the weather or the squirrels, but still, it was nice. But you know how, sometimes, there's this undercurrent, a thing you can't name, but you feel it, like air pressure before a storm. I saw it in how folks' smiles faded when my wife, proud and black and beautiful, walked beside me. How a neighbor's wave dropped to a nod if she waved first. How the HOA security, these guys who were supposed to be keeping things safe, suddenly seemed to be hanging out just a little longer in front of our place. I wanted to brush it off, tell myself we were overthinking things, that in a place like Crestwood, people had moved past that old ugliness. But my wife, she's lived too much life for denial. They're not looking at our lawn, she said. They're auditing our existence, waiting for us to slip up so they can say we don't belong. She was right, and I knew it. The moment I caught the HOA president, Mrs. Gable, eyeing us at the community barbecue. Not mean, just assessing, like she was looking at a chair that didn't match the dining set. That's when the illusion cracked, and behind it, all that sanctuary talk started to feel more like a test, and us like the unwelcome experiment. You ever feel that? Like you paid the price of admission but somehow still don't have the right ticket? One day, the mask came all the way off. Blue skies, kids playing, all that, and I'm working in my office when this SUV, white, decked out with the HOA logo, but not the usual, low-key ride, pulls up. Four guys step out, younger, cocky, not the retirees we usually see. Their leader, Kurt, is pure textbook, military haircut, mouth locked tight, acting like he's leading a SWAT team. I watched them walk up to our door like they were raiding a stash house. My heart was going nuts, and for a second, all I could think was, this is not about hedges. They bang on the door, hard. I stay put. You know that primal thing, where you feel like an animal in your own home. I called my wife, told her what was happening. She didn't hesitate. Don't engage. Don't open the door. I'm on my way. I stayed by the window, watching these four self-styled commandos. They started circling the house, peeking through windows, trying the door handle, radioing back and forth. I felt every second stretch out like a year. Then my wife pulled up in her unmarked sedan, calm as ever, in jeans and a leather jacket, hair braided back. She walked up, not fast, just sure, looking these men right in the eye. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" she asked, and you could hear how still her voice was. Kurt tried to pull his authority routine, asking to see the homeowner, giving her that look. Like, no way this black woman owns this place. My wife just nodded at the door, unlocked it with her phone, and pointed. There, right inside, was her duty belt and her badge. Sheriff's gold star, big as you please. She didn't have to raise her voice, just let the truth settle in. I watched the color drain out of Kurt's face. He knew he'd made a mistake he'd never lived down. His guys were lost, looking at each other, realizing they'd picked the wrong house to try this on. She pressed them, asked for their names, their licenses, the report that sent them here. She wanted all of it, in writing, on her desk by 9 a.m. Then, finally, she told them to get off our lawn, and I have never seen grown men trip over themselves that fast trying to leave. But that wasn't the end, not by a long shot. A week later, the paper cut started. Violation notices for a shrub we didn't plant, a garden hose left out for over 3 hours, a fine for the newspaper sitting on our driveway before 7 a.m. Every letter was another jab, another little reminder that we were being watched. They weren't just auditing our yard, they were auditing our right to be there at all. Soon, the neighbors stopped waving. The invitations disappeared. We'd become the pariahs of Crestwood, villains in the story spun by Mrs. Gable and her board. They whispered about us at the mailbox, shut their doors when we walked by, and my wife, the same woman who could stare down criminals and win, came home every night with her shoulders just a little lower. The weight of it was crushing. But she never broke. She paid the fines, filed the appeals, refused to use her office to retaliate. She said, "If I fight them with the badge, they'll just say I abused my power. I have to be better for everyone who comes after me." That's integrity. It hurt to watch, but it's who she is. Then, out of nowhere, came Arthur. Old, quiet, the kind of guy nobody noticed. He knocked one night, handed me a manila folder, said, "They've been doing this for years, to anyone who stands out or stands up. There's something wrong with the money." Inside the folder, years of financial records, notes about no-bid contracts, fake repairs, money getting funneled to companies tied to Mrs. Gable and her family. It was bigger than us. This was corruption, not just pettiness. My wife, the investigator, and me, the guy who knows how to read blueprints, started digging. We found the same contractors getting paid double, invoices for repairs that never happened, land deals that lined up a little too close to board members' relatives. And all of it pointed to a development deal, Vantage Development Group, a high-rise condo project that needed the HOA board's approval. They'd been using the HOA as a personal piggy bank, and anyone who threatened to uncover it, like us or Arthur, became a target. That's when the threats turned ugly. Slashed tires. A dead rat left on our porch, with a noose around its neck. Yeah, that happened. My wife wanted to fight back, but she couldn't use her office, not with all eyes watching for a misstep. Instead, she gathered it all and took it to the state attorney general, stepping back from the investigation so nobody could claim she was using her power for payback. We documented everything. Became witnesses, not warriors. But the board wasn't done. They ramped up the pressure. Leaked a bogus ethics complaint about my wife to the media, accusing her of abusing her power, hoping to break her reputation. The local news ran with it. She was under a cloud, every move scrutinized. But what they didn't know, her recusal and that chain of evidence to the AG. Airtight. She couldn't be touched. Then came their last move. They broke into our garage, caught on our own camera, which we'd hidden inside, just in case. Kurt and another guard, planting a duffel full of fake drugs and an illegal gun in my wife's car, planning to tip off the police and have us arrested as drug dealers. But this time, we had them. I sent the video to the AG's office, then waited while the board called in their tip. The day the state troopers and AG investigators showed up, it was like a scene from a movie. Blue lights flashing, neighbors gathering, and the board caught red-handed. They were arrested for racketeering, fraud, conspiracy, the whole ugly mess. The news spread, the lies about us fell apart, and for the first time, people saw who we really were. Arthur was elected as the new HOA president. All the bogus fines and violations wiped clean. The community, ashamed and relieved, apologized and rallied to build something better. My wife was cleared. The developer's deal was killed. Crestwood Estates had to start over, rebuilding trust, trying to become what it had always pretended to be. But let's be real. The scars are still there. Every time a car slows outside, a flicker of fear comes back. The memory of the rat on the porch isn't going anywhere. It's a reminder that no amount of landscaping or rules can hide what's ugly inside a place, or inside people. That the real fight isn't about fines or HOA letters. It's about whether you let fear and hate dictate who gets to belong. We sit on the porch sometimes, holding hands, watching the sunset, and my wife says, "We bought this house for the quiet. We just had to fight a war to get it." And I know what she means. In the end, the badge didn't win us anything. Her refusal to use it for revenge, her integrity, did. It was quiet courage, the kind that builds something lasting, that finally turned this house into a real sanctuary. And now I've got a question for you. Yeah, you watching this, thinking about your own neighborhood, your own sense of justice. When the rules are weaponized, when the people in power turn community into exclusion, who's responsible for fighting back? Who decides what justice looks like? Drop your thoughts below. Who was right? Who was wrong? And what would you have done if it were your family, your home, your peace on the line?